reread the first two and then go into the third one. And so I have about maybe a month and a half to do that now. Oh my gosh, I do have a month and a half to do that. I just realized that. Oh no. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Chia, and in 2026, a part of my Bookmas content, I made the 2026 most anticipated book releases. And I did it up until maybe, I think it was like September or something like that. But ever since then, I've read majority of those books. I've also heard about more books releasing in the second half of 2026. And the second half of 2026 is about to be a banger because a lot of anticipated books are coming out in the second half of 2026. I don't know how I'm going to read them all. A lot of them require a few rereads because some of these book releases, I haven't read any of the books for like 2 years because I was waiting for the last book to come out. And now I am trying to catch up on all my rereads along with staying on top of like my physical TBR. And it's a little bit getting difficult, but I'm breathing one step at a time. And I'm also just prioritizing a certain books more over the other ones because some of them I'm probably not going to read day one, just depending on how my rereads are going. We shall see. Let's first start off with a couple of categories because a couple of the categories are a little bit, like I said, I'm trying not to read day one because of certain factors. The first category I'm going to go over is books that were supposed to be released in 2026 but were then postponed to 2027. So in case you haven't heard the news yet that some of these books were delayed, I'm here to unfortunately give you the bad news. The first one that was supposed to come out this year but has since been delayed to 2027 is Red God by Pierce Brown. We didn't have a concrete release date anyway, so I'm not too bummed about it not coming out yet. And also, I don't know if you've seen my previous videos talking about the Red Rising series, but I have yet to read the second arc of the series, so I'm saving those 3 books until Red God comes out. So I'm not too disappointed that it's not coming out this year. I would like for Pierce Brown to take his time writing out the last book. He wants to give these characters as much love and attention and the perfect ending that this world deserves. I can't believe that I just started the series last year and we are already like talking about the final book in the series. And apparently he's going to be writing a really long one because there are rumors that he's trying to print from the same printer that Brandon Sanderson uses, the specialized printer that he uses because his books are so huge. So I'm expecting 1,000-page book, and if that's gonna take time to give the perfect ending because I do not want 1,000-page filler. So yes, that has been postponed till 2027 with no concrete release date yet. And then the next one is this one I am disappointed about because I really wanted to read the final book, which is The Wolf Queen by Lauren Pal Freeman. This was supposed to come out in September, and then she announced that she was gonna postpone it till November, and then she announced again that she was gonna postpone it till May of next year. I was hoping for it to come out during spooky season because that just seems like the spooky season fall vibes, and next year it's coming out during springtime now, so I don't know how to feel about that. But if this gives them a better ending than what we were going to get, I will take it because I'd rather a book completely come out, you know, perfect to me. I've read a lot of disappointing sequels this year and also some endings of series that were very disappointing to me that deserved better, in all honesty. So if she can give her time and attention to give us a story and the ending that these characters deserve, I am all for it. The next one, the last one, it's Fae and Alchemy number 3. We have no title for that yet. Again, this book was supposed to come out in November, which I had a feeling was going to be delayed anyways because the last book, Brimstone, which was a sequel to Quicksilver, came out in November last year, and then I heard she was going to come out with the 3rd book a year again. And Brimstone I liked, but I just feel like there was a lot of parts of that was very filler. We did get a lot of good character development for certain characters, but I just felt like it was a little bit of a filler book for me personally. So I'm hoping that the 3rd book will add more to it because there's a revelation that happened towards the end of the 2nd book that I can't wait to see explored, but I'm a little bit annoyed by it because it means that certain things were being hidden from us. We shall see how she ties that up in the 3rd book. I think it's going to be a 4-book series or it's going to be a trilogy. I'm not sure. I don't remember. Okay, the second category. These are books that are coming out at the end of this year, but I have yet to start either the series or start any of the first books or anything like that. Also, personally, I do want to start the series because they are ending, so it feels like a perfect time to start it. Number 1 is Deadbeat by Leigh Bardugo. I think this is the 3rd book in the 9th House trilogy. I think there's only going to be 3 books. I have yet to start this series because I've been hearing kind of like mixed things, and also I heard there was going to be a 3rd book, and I didn't have this like big urge to pick up the whole entire series until the 3rd book got announced anyways. So here we are. I think it's like a fall dark academia, like I think there's supposed to be like a cult she ends up joining too, or a secret society. I love secret society books like that, so I'm excited to see what I think of it. Deadbeat is coming out September 15th. I probably already put it on the screen, but you know. The next one is for Victorious. Again, I haven't read the Villain series by V. Schwab. I've read the first book in the Darker Shade of Magic trilogy. I love that one, and this one is more like villains who find superpowers or something like that. I'm not sure. I don't really know. I think I'm gonna go in blind because I do want to see how good this series is, because I do like V. Schwab's writing, and I heard this is one of like her best series, and I think they're all on Kindle Unlimited, and I think the 3rd book will be on Kindle Unlimited. So I will be picking up the 1st book this year, probably closer to the release of the 3rd one. I think that's going to conclude the series. And then the next one is Vine of Hearts, which is the 2nd book in the Rose and Chain trilogy. I want to say it's going to be a trilogy. I have the 1st book, Rose and Chain by Julie Soto. This one's coming out December 1st, so I really want to pick up Rose and Chains, but I'm waiting till fall time. So as soon as like September hits, I'm going to start reading my fall books, and you'll get like a fall TBR, fall recommendations from me again, like maybe closer to September time. I think that's it for that. Okay, so let's move on to the actual like most anticipated book releases of the second half of the year. The first one is going to be To Dance with Death by Brittany Arena. This is the sequel to Dance of Lies. I love Dance of Lies. I think I read it earlier this year or last year, something like that. I absolutely fell in love with how the world was built, how the characters kind of told their story through dance, especially our main character Vasa. If you don't know, this story follows a character named Vasa, and she's been in prison for the past 2 years. She used to be like the main dancer for the king. She kind of got accused of a crime that she didn't commit, so she got like jailed even though she was favored by the king. And then 2 years later, the king comes and offers her a deal that if she goes and spies on his brother at the other kingdom as a dancer and gives him intel and all that stuff, then he will let her go. And she just wants freedom. She doesn't want to be in his grasp anymore. She just wants to go live her life. But unfortunately, in the past 2 years while she was jailed, every single thing, like her limbs, her muscles, everything just started deteriorating, and she unfortunately developed a disability. And this stems from the fact that the author also has her own disability that is similar to Vasa's. So she goes to the foreign kingdom. She kind of finds out a lot of stuff and makes a lot of friends. And also there's like a love story she has too. I love it because it's very summary book, and I do really like how the story is told a lot through dance. I really did like the cliffhanger and what's going to imply for this whole entire story. So I cannot wait for that to come out on August 4th. I'm so excited for that to come out, and it's perfect last month of summer. And also it's just going to be a duology, so it's going to finish with that series, and it's going to be another series I'm going to check off my list. And then the next one is, of course, I spoke about this also in my anticipated releases of last year, but since it's a part of the second half of this year and it's getting closer, I'm so excited for it to come out. It's The Knave and the Moon by Rachel Gillick, and it's coming out September 1st. I'm so excited for this because again, it's another book that had a huge cliffhanger at the end. This one follows a character named Sybil. She is one of the 7 diviners, I think. They live in a cathedral, and they are meant to kind of like drown every single time they divine for anybody. And she's supposed to serve at the cathedral for 10 years, and after that they're supposed to be able to go live their own lives. But unfortunately, one by one, each of her divination sisters starts getting kidnapped. And so she meets a sort of guard of the king, and he comes with the king because the king wants to get his divination told to them. And so she kind of like clashes with the guard because he doesn't really believe in anything that they're doing, that they're shams, that all of this is fake and all of that stuff. And she kind of like asks him for help to go find her divination sisters, and it goes on from there. Of course, there's like a love story and everything. I love the way Rachel Gillick writes. She is one of my favorite authors. I was able to go to a signing event earlier this year for the paperback release of her Night of the Moth series, the indie published one, and I'm so excited for The Knave and the Moon to come out. It's a duology again, so it's going to be another series that's going to be ticked off my list. The next book I want to talk about is releasing on September 8th, 2026. Sorrow and Strangers by Jeanette Rose and Alexis Rune. This is the second book in the Avalon University, and this is the sequel to Blood and Betrayals. I read that last year, and It's very similar to the Zodiac Academy series, where we follow this group of people, or this single individual actually, who attends this like very supernatural college. She's a fae and she makes friends with like angels, vampires, what have you. There's like so many different like supernatural creatures in this college, and also she has like interactions with this person called the Shadow, and we don't know who that is, and there's little hints in there of like this person helping her out and trying to protect her and all that stuff. And she also has sort of like a stalker. I loved the first like few, I don't know, chapters of the book, but the thing was, I did not like the romance. I felt zero chemistry for the romance, in all honesty. Like, there was so much spice in the book, and there was less relationship building between the two, and also I was interested so much more in the world and the magic system and how it was based on runes and how she has to use runes to enact like different magical abilities. And I also really liked how there was different divisions of realms for each of the supernatural creatures, and you had to be accompanied by one of the people who live in this realm to be able to go into these realms. And I love that part of it. The thing was, I really did like the interactions with her and the Shadow, or the stranger, whatever. I want to know who this person is, because I felt more chemistry between her and the Shadow compared to her actual boyfriend. So we shall see how that goes. I hope it's not filled with filler, and I hope we do really find out more about the world. But I'm really excited to dive into the second book, so I'm really excited for that to come out. And it was supposed to come out last year, but it's another one of those books that got traditionally published, so all of the covers had to be republished. Thankfully, it was just one book that was out at the time. Next one is Burn of the Everflame. Guys, we have a release date for Burn of the Everflame. It's going to be the last book of the Kindred's Curse saga. It's going to be a 4-book series. I can't believe we're finally getting the last book when we've been waiting for like 2 years. I first read the series maybe beginning of 2024. I read the first 2, and then I heard how the 4th one was kind of like stuck in this like publishing limbo, all this crap. So I decided to stop after the 2nd book because I heard the 3rd book had such a huge cliffhanger. Finally, 2 years later, we finally have a release date, September 8th. I'm so excited. Sorrows and Strangers and Burn of the Everflame are coming out on the same day. I'm going to prioritize Burn because I've been waiting for it for so long, and like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I do have to reread a lot of this series. I honestly do not remember a lot of like stuff that happened in the 1st and 2nd book, and I also have to read the 3rd book, so I'd rather reread the first 2 and then go into the 3rd one and then finally pick up Burn. And so I have about maybe a month and a half to do that now. Oh my gosh, I do have a month and a half to do that. I just realized that. Oh no. But we shall see about that. But I'm so excited to finally get like a conclusion to the series. But if you don't know, this follows a character named DM. She is a healer, and unfortunately her mom disappeared like 6 months ago or something, so she's had to take over a lot of her mom's duties in the healing center that she works for. And she finds out one day that her mom used to be a healer for the royal family, so she has to go and become a replacement for that. And these people who are the royal family are called the Descendants, I want to say. They're like sort of mixed with gods, and they're the more revered, the more privileged, the richest. They live in like the nicest cities, and she's part of the slums, and when she goes over there, she can't help but like, you know, get mad at all of them for having these like privileges over her and these riches when a lot of the people that she sees in her area are starving. But she ends up like finding out a lot of stuff that she was kind of mistakenly assuming about the Descendants, but also there's like more integration of her than she ever thought, and all these big like huge revelations come out. And also I love this world too because each section of the country is dedicated to a god, so every single time you go to a part of this country, there's like a different, you know, ability that these people have. And so when people who are of like different parts of the country, when they venture into these parts, their magic kind of gets dulled because it prioritizes the god's ability in here. It's such a cool world that Penn Cole has like written, and I can't wait. I have like a beef with DM though because she makes such terrible choices. I think she's one of the most annoying female characters I've ever read, so I'm crossing my fingers for character development for her in the 3rd and 4th book. Look forward to a reread vlog and also a reading, you know, the 3rd one for the first time. And I might think about doing a spoiler and non-spoiler of like the 4th book when it comes out. We shall see. Let me know if you're interested in that, but I'm so excited to pick that up. Next is another book coming out on September 8th. Like I'm telling you, there's so many books coming out during fall. So this one is not really a big priority of mine, but I still want to get it. It's Taipei Story by R.F. Kuang. I read Babel by her and I absolutely loved her writing, and I absolutely love the way she writes historical fiction collection. I do have Calabasas on my shelf that I do want to read during fall time also, and I'm looking forward to that story. The cover is absolutely beautiful. If you've seen the deluxe version of it with like the edges and stuff like that, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. And she talks about like the artist who actually drew this, and there's like different versions of it in the UK. I'm not too sure of anything about it. I honestly like to go into her books blind because I want to form my own opinions about them. Some people give her books like mixed reviews. Some people love it, some people hate it, some people just think that, you know, it's kind of very pretentious, but I absolutely love her writing, so we shall see what I think about Taipei's story. Next is, oh my gosh, this book's coming out on September 8th too. I didn't realize. I loved If It Makes You Happy by Julie Olivia. That was one of my favorite books of last year. It's a fall themed book, but it's set in the 90s. It's a contemporary romance rom-com kind of book. I loved how it was set in the 90s. It gave me such nostalgic feelings. And the next one that's coming out, it's called Love Felt Like This. I think that's the title. You'll see when I post it on here. I love her writing. I love the way she writes like 90s books. And also I really liked how she did the story and the worlds. And I can't wait for this one because I heard it's going to be similar. I don't think it's going to be in the same world as If It Makes You Happy, but the cover is absolutely beautiful. I think this one's going to be like a rock star romance, and I've heard like other people's reviews of the arcs that they read, and they said it's just as good, if not better, than If It Makes You Happy. And I'm really excited because I loved If It Makes You Happy. And then the next is a novella coming out called The Mirror of Infinite Endings by Stephanie Garber. If you're familiar with the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy, the novella is going to be about Jax and Eva, which I'm very excited about because A Curse of True Love was, I'm sorry, absolute trash. It did not focus on them whatsoever. Like, it made me so upset when I read that book. I binged it in one day, and it left me feeling so unfulfilled and underwhelmed, and I was so upset about it. It was one of like my most disappointing reads in 2023. I'm so excited because I needed more moments between them from A Curse of True Love. So I'm hoping this will satisfy the hole that like that book left me with. We shall see, but I absolutely love the series. And if you don't know, we follow a character named Evangeline, and on the same day that her stepsister is about to marry the love of her life, she begs the fates to come and intervene in the wedding on her part because she doesn't want the love of her life obviously marrying her stepsister. So instead of one of the other fates answering her call, Jax is the one who answers her call and basically says that I will do what you want me to do, but you owe me 3 kisses that you are supposed to give anybody I want you to, and at any time. And so she makes a deal with him, and then they have to work together for certain things and then end up falling in love. And I'm hoping we have like this redeeming book for them. We shall see. Next one is called The Wretched Divine by Adeline Grace. This one comes out on September 22nd. I don't know too much about this book. I just know that I love Adeline Grace's writing, especially in the Belladonna series. I read the first book. I've yet to continue on with the series. I'm so excited because I absolutely loved how she wrote like the gothic YA-ness in it. I heard this one is going to be her adult debut. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this one is centered around angels, I want to say, but I'm not sure anything else about that. Let's see about the synopsis. Okay, this one is following a character named Areli Chanteloon, who's born to serve, it's about knights! Raised as a knight in a kingdom ravaged by demons, she spent her life honing her blade, driven by the memory of the monsters who tore her family apart, and by the knowledge that she's one of the few who can stop them. And then she has to claim her first kill. She has sort of like a connection with an angel, whose power is vital to her kingdom's survival. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to see how she does that. But yeah, that's coming out on September 22nd. And the next one is, oh my gosh, the title just got announced, and it's called Threshing Day by Rebecca Yarros. It is the novella in the Fourth Wing series, and apparently it's going to follow 13 POVs of threshing days. I'm so excited because I'm always so curious about how some of the characters that we didn't really see their threshing days, and I'm so curious in how they interacted with their dragons and how they found each other. Coming out September 29th. It's not book 4, definitely not. I can't wait for book 4, but oh my god, my foot is falling asleep. If you don't know, we follow a character named Violet in Fourth Wing. She lives in this like war college, and her mom's sort of like the main person who's in charge of the whole entire college. She comes from a family of dragon riders, and she has never wanted to be a dragon rider because she has a disability that makes her a little bit weaker than most of the people who are becoming dragon riders. So she always felt that her place was in like the archives as a scribe because her dad was a scribe, and her dad was training her to be a scribe. But on the day that she's supposed to sign up, her mom tells her, no, you're going to become a dragon Rider because that's what I want you to do. She gets forced to join Dragon Riders and it goes on from there. I absolutely am in love with the series. I know it gets a lot of flack. That's kind of what happens when a book is like very, very hyped and very like popular. You will see a lot of negative reviews about it, especially if like it doesn't meet people's expectations. But for me, I absolutely in love with the series. I gave every single book in the series 5 stars. I'm excited for the novella and I'm always excited to learn more about the world. Next is... oh yeah, Abby Jimenez is coming out with another novella called A Merry Little Christmas on October 20th. It's perfect because it's literally right before Christmas season is going to start, and so this is going to follow like different couples and like it's around Christmas time. I'm excited for Abby Jimenez to write these novellas, even though I've been kind of disappointed with her last couple of books releases, but I might read it closer to maybe towards Thanksgiving or December, who knows. The next one of the biggest releases of the year. I know I'm not the only one who is excited about this release. ACOTAR 6 is coming out on October 27th, and Sarah J Maas says that she's gonna come out with like a 3-parter. So this book is gonna be the first one and the second book is coming out in January, and then I'm assuming that the third one is going to be released sometime in the next year, because she said she's going through like final edits for that one from the stuff that I've researched online, as well as listening and watching Sarah J Maas's interview on Call Her Daddy. So what she said, that this book was supposed to be one book, but it was way too long for any printer to print it. In order for it to be a cohesive story, she's going to be splitting it into 3 parts. So it's not going to follow a different storyline. It's literally the same exact storyline. Most definitely think that it's going to be named the same title for all 3 books because it is a 3-parter. So that's what I'm getting. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I found in my research. But I'm so excited for this release. We haven't had a release since A Court of Silver Flames, which is my favorite book out of the whole entire series. And I just relate to Nesta so much from that book. So I'm so excited to see how this world continues, because there are some people in this series that we are still waiting for like a sort of happy ending for them. At least like giving them a happier moment, because they've gone through so much suffering and so much crap that I just want to see them happy for certain people. But I know there's a bigger problem that we are also dealing with too. I can't wait to see how the story continues. I'm so excited that we're getting 2 books back to back after like not having any news for like years, having such a drought. I can't even like imagine some of you guys who have been waiting longer. I think the last I heard that like it was been 5 years or 6 years since she's like had any news for ACOTAR. I'm glad I didn't have to wait that long. Still a long wait after like the stuff that happens in A Court of Silver Flames. And then the next one is another highly anticipated release of mine, which is The Last King of Fairy, which is going to be the 3rd and final trilogy that Cassandra Clare will ever write for the Shadowhunter universe. I can't believe she's still writing this world. I started reading these books like maybe a little bit after high school. I started off with the Mortal Instrument series, but I never really continued, and my favorite series is Infernal Devices, and I also read The Last Hours. So I kind of jumped around a little bit in the universe, and how she writes these characters, like it's YA, but the way she writes her characters with their traumas and also the romances in here, it's no spice, but they have most heart-achingly beautiful yearning and love. Some of these people are like my favorite couples of all time. If you haven't picked up the Shadowhunters universe, now's the time, because she's about to conclude it very soon. So this is going to be the first book, and I'm assuming that's going to be in the next few years. She's going to be releasing the 2nd and 3rd one, and then after that she said she's done. She's not going to be writing the Shadowhunters universe anymore. Wow, a 20+ book universe. It's insane, and I'm so sad that we're going to be saying goodbye to these characters, but it's been so long since she first came out with like the Mortal Instrument series. So we shall see how she concludes everything, because it's supposed to tie into, I think, the Dark Artifices. I'm rereading the whole entire universe right now. There are some novellas and books. Like I've never read the Dark Artifices series before, so I'm going to be reading that for the first time before The Last King of Fairy comes out. And then the next one is the 5th book of the Gods and Monsters series by Amber V. Nicole. It's coming out November 24th, and it's called The Fall of the Crowned King. The Wrath of the Fallen was the last one that came out. I have yet to read that because of the mixed reviews that I've heard about it, so I'd rather read it right before the next one comes out. But I heard that the cliffhanger is crazy in that one, and it kind of turned around the book for them, but we shall see how I feel about it, because I do want to end up finishing the series. I'm 3 books deep, might as well continue. The 4th book is already out and there's going to be 3 more in the 5th book. I really love the series. I really do love the characters, and I really love the love story between Diana and Sam Kyle, and I'm just confused about the entire plot of the story because it's jumping around a lot, especially with the ending of the 3rd book, I think it is. Yeah, that's the last one I read. Like, that one was like turning a different turn, and I don't know. We shall see how I feel about the whole entire series as I read further on, but I'm excited for that release. And then the next one is, I think that's going to be the last one actually, which is The Warrior of Shards by Sarah Hawley, which is the 3rd book in the Shards of Magic trilogy, and the first one is called Servant of Earth. So we follow a character named Kenna. She lives in this town where they believe that every 5 years they should sacrifice 4 girls to go into like the bog so that they can travel into the fairy world. They worship the fairies basically, and so one year her best friend gets chosen and she doesn't want any of that. She's not going to have any of that. She's very familiar with the bog because she goes there every single day to hunt for stuff to sell so that she can make money because she's on her own. And so she goes in there on the day that they're supposed to be going into the bog to rescue her friend and the other girls, and all of these things end up going wrong, so they end up inadvertently finding the fairy world, and she goes in it, and so she becomes sort of like a servant of this fairy girl who has to go through trials in order for her to get her full powers. So it's different that Kenna is not the one who has the full powers. She has to help the princess who is a part of this world, and all of this stuff like goes down. I have the 2nd book that I haven't read yet. I'm waiting till closer till December so I can read it back to back once the 3rd book comes out, but I'm really excited to finish the series. It's one of the better done romances out there, I think. I really love how the fairies are portrayed in here. They're very cruel, they're very mean, and how a lot of them are divided into different elemental houses, and I love the whole entire exploration of that world. It's so good, and it's not like necessarily, you know, unique, but I do really like how Kenna is. She's incredibly smart. She's learning as she goes, but at the same time she's not like whining and everything. She basically gets down to work, helps out what she needs to do, but also at the same time tries to find ways to kind of escape the fairy world. We shall see how that concludes, but that is the last book I wanted to talk about in this video. Thank you for sticking with me, and there are so many releases coming out the 2nd half of this year. I will try my best to stay on top of them because I do like reading the new releases so I can give my review for you guys in case you care about my opinion whatsoever. Thank you guys again for like all your support and for subscribing, liking, doing all that stuff. And if you're new here, please like, subscribe. It really does help my channel a lot, and comment down below what you are most anticipating to release this year, and I will see you all next time. Bye.